What's up, sports bettors? We have lots of college basketball today, and my college basketball bet yesterday on SDSU cashed big time. So I'm going to be taking you through a college basketball parlay that I'm on, right? And you can see on the odds jam screen, line movements are highlighted in green and red. But another tool, aside from the screen that I like to use when finding good plays is called the positive EV tool. Right? So when I'm looking for parlays, essentially I'm looking for profitable bets to include in my parlay. I want plays with an edge. And you can see, that's exactly what the positive EV tool shows you. For the sports books you use, for whatever settings you create, it just shows you where there's value. There's no BS. It just shows you the biggest line discrepancies, which is really beautiful. It just shows you data. So you can see the top profit margin bet available right here is FIU -3 on Caesars, 3.66% profit margin, right? This percent column is also known as edge in sports betting or profit margin. So for example, if you have a 3.66% profit margin, if you put $1,000 on this, your bet would have $36.60 in profit margin, 3.66% of $1,000. So the first question is, why do we like this play? Why do we like this play? Why am I putting my own hard-earned money on it? And the reason is, if you click into the odds, you'll notice that Caesars has FIU only as a 3-point favorite. FanDuel has them at -3.5, heavily juiced towards FIU -3.5. Now, most sports books, they have FIU as a 4-point favorite, right? So clearly, lines started moving towards FIU. Every other sportsbook adjusted, except Caesars is still stale, as it's called. Their odds haven't updated to meet the rest of the market, right? And again, this is only possible because, as you can see in literally any game, all these sportsbooks, they try to set lines independently. You can see here, St. Peter's is -410 on DraftKings, -435 on Barstool. All these sportsbooks try to set lines independently, right? So they're all, trying to manage 50,000 odds, update them in real time. Players are getting injured, lineups are changing, weather's changing, sharp action's coming in. They're trying to balance supply and demand. So all these sportsbooks are trying to set lines independently, and all the EV tool does is point out when a sportsbook is screwing up, right? It scans the 50,000 odds kind of on Caesars and points out their biggest mistakes. And FIU -3 is a big mistake, right? Because every other book in the market has them as a 4-point favorite or heavily juiced at -3.5, right? So we're getting FIU -3 at -110 when DraftKings, because they offer these alternate lines, you can see the typical -110, -110 spread is at ±4, but DraftKings also has FIU -3 at -145. So you have DraftKings pricing this at -145. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker in the world, very efficient betting market, same as this odds jam column, like these columns are the same. They're pricing this at -130. My bookie pricing this at -136, right? So we have 1, 2, 3 sports books all telling us, yo, this is a slam dunk at -110. You're easily beating the VIG, right? And then even though FanDuel, not all these sports books offer these alternate lines, only some do. But then you can see like FanDuel, they have the -3.5 juiced. So that's half a point worse, and it's at worse odds. So basically, looking across the entire market, it's clear that Caesars is asleep at the wheel, giving us way too much value on FIU -3. So these lines are always bouncing around. And essentially, you're like a day trader. You're hunting for value in the market, looking for those soft spots on sports books where they're screwing up. Do I know anything about either of these basketball teams? No. But I'm following the data, I'm following the numbers, and lines are moving towards FIU. Every other book in the market is telling me that the spread should be at 4, and I'm getting it at 3. That's a no-brainer, right? When you're betting at -110 juice, you don't have to win every bet. You only have to actually win 52.38% of your wagers at -110 juice to break even. So when you think about a typical, NBA total or spread, the sportsbook's advantage on you with -110 juice is you need to win 52.38% of your plays. Most people can't do that. They can't win 52.38% of spread bets or total wagers at -110 odds. But when we're picking up that extra point in value, all the sports books have the line at -4. We're getting -3, a full point in value. That's how you increase, your win probability on these point spread wagers from, 50% to 55%. And that's all you can do. As a sharp, profitable bettor, you're not going to win every bet. You're not going to win every day. But you're looking for spread bets, in total bets at -110 juice, where you're winning 55% of the time, 56% of the time, 54 even, anything above 52.38%, because then you have an edge, right? The second play I went with is Parlay Dickinson +17. So I just created a parlay, and we can go through the math behind a parlay very briefly. You can see here I have 2 picks, $1,500 at +264 odds, FIU -3, Parlay Dickinson +17. I mean, all my plays I give out, right? Arkansas -2.5 I gave out. A bunch of these plays I gave out either, wow, we are on a tear of a freaking win streak, we were. But all these plays, I'm giving out on Twitter, and I'm putting my own money on, or I'm giving out on YouTube, or I'm writing about them. But essentially it's like, I'm not going to win every day, I know that, but all my plays have an edge, so I know I'm going to win over the course of the long run. So that's the 2-leg parlay I created. Now you may be like, okay, but how do you back out the profit margin of your parlay? And what you do is you take the no vig odds. So this is the consensus line, right? If you removed the juice from the sports betting market, so DraftKings has this -145, Pinnacle -130, MyBookie -136. So kind of the market consensus with no vig, with the vig removed, is -118.81. So if you do this and you go, okay, -118.81, and you put that into an odds converter calculator, no vig odds is also known as fair odds. So fair odds also means fair win probability for a bet. So we're winning this wager, this point spread, 54.3% of the time. As you see kind of in this sheet, 54.29. So slight differences due to rounding. But this is higher than the -110, right? We only needed to win 52.38% of our spread bets at -110 odds to beat the sports book, right? 52.38% breaks even. Lower than 52.38 means you're unprofitable long term. And anything above 52.38% means you're profitable long term. So this first play is profitable, right? Because it's at -118.81. We're winning this 54.3% of the time. So essentially the point, of positive EV betting, I still have one more parlay, is just like, you're not smarter than the rest of the market. The market is the way it is because of people betting. Like DraftKings has FIU -3 at -145 because of the action they've seen in the market in their sports betting models. So there's millions of people betting on college basketball every single day. So if you just assume, you're smarter than the rest of the market, that's kind of crazy, at least in my opinion. Like the market is the way it is because of supply and demand. And the way you make money sports betting is you treat all these books as an independent data point of where the market should be, and you hunt for value, very simply. We're taking FIU -3 because we have 1, 2, 3. Every other sports book in the market is telling us this play is profitable, which means the average market consensus, the average bettor, would want to be on FIU -3 at -110. Right? So this is just a market-oriented betting strategy. And the next parlay I have is Grayson Allen under 2.5 assists, and McCall Bridges over 17.5 points. So this play is on Betway. And I say this all the time, but like you can see I locked it in. They only gave me $200. $200 at +264 odds. So I added both of these to my sheet where I'm tracking profit and loss. So we have the FIU play for $1,500. And then we have this Grayson Allen play, under 2.5 assists, Bridges. And again, you need more sports books. You never know which sports book's going to have the value, right? Like the college basketball value was on Caesars today, but clearly the NBA value, we're getting Grayson Allen under 2.5 assists at -111. Actually, on my Betway account, I got -110 on this, so some slight differences, but basically No other book is offering better than minus 142. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sports books, including 2 very sharp offshore sports books and the sharpest bookmaker in the world, Pinnacle, telling us that's a slam. No brainer. So I locked it in. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you can tail these 2 parlays. Let's make some money.